Hello and welcome to a brand new episode 177, Maggie, of the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. I'm your host, Corinne, and this is my co-host, Maggie, marketer extraordinaire. And how are you, Maggie?
Good.
Yeah.
Good. It is Monday morning here when we're recording, so that's
after a busy weekend, I hear.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Monday morning, and we're also recording early.
Yes.
Because this one is going to come out early, because we're going to be on vacation for a couple of weeks after this. So we wanted to get this out to you, and just a little treat to keep you going and get you casting on, and we'll talk all about that in a minute. But you had a good weekend?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Lots of prep getting ready for our trip.
Yeah. Where are you going? I think you told us last time.
So yeah, we're going to Florida. We're going to the Panhandle.
Yeah.
And so we
see
had to
family.
see family, make sure everybody has flip-flops, and trying to find a swimsuit for a 12-year-old in New Hampshire at the end of August.
Oh yeah, that's
Not
impossible.
super easy.
No, no.
Easy.
Oh my gosh. No, because they're already getting into the winter stuff. I'm wearing wool today, did you notice?
I did notice.
Talking of winter stuff, it was about 50 degrees when I got dressed this morning. I'm like, that's it. I'm putting on my wool. It will get up to 80 though.
Yeah.
At which point this will come off. But it feels so good. I actually put it on back to front originally, and it kept bothering my neck, and I'm like, why this is, I kept pulling it down, it's right, and no, I had to take it off. Look, and I had it on backwards, so be careful about that. But it does sit much better now, which is good. Anyway, blather.
Yeah.
What do we have in today's episode?
We have some new books in the shop. We have our next book bundle coming.
Oh yes, book and yarn pairing.
Yes,
yeah.
This one, they've all been really good.
Yeah,
this one's
you're
great.
excited.
I
about
find
it,
this one quite tempting.
Yes, and we have Kelsey.
Yeah, Kelsey is joining us. She's going to talk a little bit about how she picks which sweater patterns she's going to knit, what she looks for.
Perfect. And we have Emma.
Yes.
And we are also, this is going live on Cast On Day for our sweater KAL. So we hope that you are enjoying this while casting on. That would be lovely.
Yeah, I have seen a couple of comments in the Facebook group asking about if we're having a cast on a Zoom party like we usually do. And for this one, mostly just because of timing and things like that, we did not plan a cast on Zoom party. But I think either like a mid or an end of KAL party.
Well, we'll throw one in there at some point. Yeah, it's a 7-week KAL, so yes, that's a good idea.
Yeah, but for cast on day, you can watch this episode.
You can watch this. This is a treat. This is extra.
This is a treat, yes.
All right, so let's announce the winner from last time.
Yes, so let's see. Our first winner today is Carla Quigg, and she says, love the Shopcast ladies, especially liked meeting special guest Grady. I think I'm going to knit a portie with all the JNS I got from you. Dare I attempt my first steek?
Yes.
Yes,
you do.
Should.
Yes, you should.
So, Carla, if you want to email us at info@thewoollythistle, put prize winner in all caps in your subject line. We will get your $25 Woolly Thistle gift card right out to you.
Perfect. And if you want to be in the running next time, just make sure you subscribe to our channel, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment, and we pick them at random.
Yep.
So, well done, Carla. And yes, we unequivocally say yes, you should try your first steek. And also, if you're going to be doing it with Jamieson and Smith, then you are in very safe hands as well. So I think having the right yarn makes all the difference. So I already mentioned I'm wearing wool. I'm wearing a vanilla sweater. God, that totally escaped me for a minute. One of my many vanilla sweaters. Are you wearing any wool today?
I'm not wearing any wool today.
But you did bring her
I did.
in.
Speaking of first steeks, I brought in my my Defiant cardigan.
Let's bring her in.
Here.
So Maggie, you're not wearing wool, but you brought her in.
I did. So this was my epic knit that I started during last year's KAL.
Yeah.
And it was like April or something when I finished it. It was.
That's okay. Look at it's color work from top to bottom.
It's done. And it was my first steek. It was knit in Romo Fennel Garn. The pattern is the Defiant Cardigan by Kristin, Wiola, Ødegård.
Yep.
In her Scandinavian sweaters book.
And we'll put a picture there. That is such a great book. I was thinking about that again, that book actually. It's a lovely book.
I flipped through it.
Yeah.
it's well worn now just from knitting one sweater. But
this is an epic. This is, you know, your opus magnum.
Yeah.
So far. Not only is it all color work all over, the color work is done in pearl.
Yeah, there's pearl bumps there,
which I love. I love the finished look of that.
Yep, it was
It's almost Alice Starmore-esque as well.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I really like it. I like the inside too.
Yeah, look at that steak. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, and I did not reinforce it.
No, you just cut, right?
Yeah, I say that I did a little bit of felting.
Oh yeah.
Especially at the top where
Needle felting.
Where you've got like the 3 different colors.
But it looks so
really
secure. You got your lovely thistle buttons.
I do.
This is really a beautiful.
Need to grab like 3 more thistle buttons.
I think it's just not going to happen at this point. Which is okay.
It is okay.
It's gorgeous. It's so lovely.
It's gorgeous and it fits.
And it fits because you knit it twice.
So yes, the first time I had joined the sleeves and I got to about here.
You'd actually started the yoke color work?
I had started the yoke. I discovered 2 things there. First of all, I didn't like the original colors I'd picked out.
Right.
When I started knitting the blue.
Yep.
In the pattern, she shows you a blue, but the colors listed in the pattern are not the colors in the photo.
Right. Huh. Weird.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
So I tried to find a blue that was close, and the blue was, the skein looked okay held next to it, but it was too cool.
Yep.
In tone.
I love what you
way
did.
Off. So I already had this wine color at home from a previous project, and I love how it looks. So it's good.
Happy days.
But I got about that far and was looking at her, and I'm like, I think you're going to be too small. And I tried it on, and it was
skin tight.
It was a bit gutting
because there is not a lot of give in this.
There's not a lot of give in the fabric. Like I don't know. I suspect actually it's the purl stitches.
Huh? This sucks it in a wee bit.
Sort of cinches it in a bit. I could be wrong about that, but.
But because you're doing stranded color work too, it's only got as much as you have.
Right, and I tried to hold it really.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
But I think there's just not a lot of stretching.
Yeah.
I probably could have gone up a needle size to get a looser fabric.
Well, I mean, hindsight is always so 20.
I mean, so after I ripped it out, I did go up a needle size, and I did some math and. I remember Voxering Kelsey and they're like, is my math right? And
so
Fudge City. She helped me. I think I ended up just going up a size, but I had already knit the sleeves by then. The sleeves, they're a little snug, but as you wear it, it loosens up, so they're fine. I did not re-knit them. Yeah. But I re-knit the whole body.
Fantastic.
Steeked it. And by the time I got to the steeking, I reinforced the thing, but I was so anxious to just get it done that I remember being on the sofa and I didn't even get video. I was just like happily cutting away.
So so it's beautiful. It is really a work of art, and well done you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It fits. I wear it. I really like it.
Let's talk about what you're knitting this year.
Yeah. So this year I'm knitting the Riddari, and using Let Lopi for that. So here are my colors.
Very lovely.
So
that really gives it a nice pop, the foxy color, and these are so soft and fluffy looking.
Yes.
Very nice.
So I'm excited to get going on that.
What's your main color?
My main color is the blue.
Ooh.
It's 1700.
Very nice.
I really like that.
Yeah.
I always liked blue.
Yeah, I know.
I don't usually knit a ton of blue sweaters.
Is that true?
Although I have one.
Yeah, you got one on the go.
I have knit a couple of blue ones. My weekender is blue, but I don't like it.
Do you knit a weekender?
I do, but I don't like it.
Oh, what did you knit it in?
I knitted in a local wool that I got, and it's very similar to like a Bartlett yarn. It's it's a worsted weight. It's a very woolly wool, so it just wasn't a good choice for that pattern. There's like no drape in it at all. Oh, right. Even though that
feel like you're wearing a.
Yeah, and it's too short. I should have maybe if I knit it longer.
Yeah.
I don't know. So. I'm probably going to rip it out at some point.
You know what I noticed is I think our discussion of sweaters gone wrong and body image in our heads really resonated with people last time. I think lots of us suffer from that So I think that, you know, that would be worth exploring at some point, because I know it drives me bananas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my weekender, it fits all around. Although that one I actually started too large. I was at my sister's house and I was knitting it, and she's looking at it and she's like, "Who's that for?" I'm like, "Me." And she's like, "This is ginormous."
See, it took her objective eyes
took
to
her
realize.
looking at me going like, "You're insane. That's not going to fit you."
Yeah.
Barber cords probably would have helped that one too, which now I do.
Exactly. So much easier just to put. Yes, that's a really
because
good
you know
benefit.
just trying to hold it out. I'm like, no, it'll be fine.
It'll be
She's
fine,
like,
it's all
it's like
sponge.
3 times. Like, even with ease, like it would have been huge.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a great marriage, I think, of wool and pattern.
Right. Lots of good stuff to explore in that, I think. You know, pairing of pattern and wool, and also that we think we're knitting the right size. And why is that? When somebody like your sister or friend can look at it and say, what are you doing? Yeah. You know, why are we blind to that? It's interesting.
Yeah. And that was the pattern, really, that having that discussion with her really made ease click for me about because and every designer writes it a little bit different. Whether or not, like, are they including the ease? Because some designers will say this includes the ease. Right. Well, now I'm really confused.
Exactly. There's not really a standard way of doing it. And if we're not confident that we understand what they're saying, it can be frustrating.
Especially if it's a designer whose work maybe I'm not familiar with. Like, there's some that, you know, I know generally how they list it.
But I would say that's when going to a Ravelry or Facebook group would be very beneficial. You can go to that and be like, okay, this says this for ease. Does that mean this or that? Because, you know, and people will help you. Yeah, other customers.
Some of them, like, I like when they give you the actual garment measurements.
The schematic, that's very important. Took me a long time to even understand, though, what I was looking at with that. Like, why is that important? I don't know. Yeah. But it is, because if it's telling you the exact measurements that you should have when it's finished, and the chest is, you know, 44, and you know you're a 42 in actual bust measurement, and it's supposed to have 2 inches of ease, then that's going to fit the way it should. And that's very, very helpful and critical information. Yeah. So if you don't understand what they're saying about ease in the wording, if it has a schematic, you can work it out. Yeah. But still, then you've got to get gauge.
Yes. Because if you don't get gauge,
then you're not going to come out with the 44 that you anticipated. Yeah. There's a lot to it.
And then realizing that, well, I'm just 1 stitch off, but it's 1 stitch off over every 4 inches.
Which can be many inches depending. It really can. And same in the other way around, you know, I'm only, you know, I'm
only a half a stitch off.
Nope. You end up sucked in or too big or Yeah. But I think so many of us are, and you know, not to exclude newbie knitters, I think if you're a new sweater knitter, this is helpful to you too, to know this stuff going in. For many of us, we have knitted lots of sweaters and are still pondering this. So it's all very relevant, and you know, the better we get, the better then we understand what we're trying to achieve. You're not just knitting a pattern willy-nilly, which of course you're welcome to do. Right. But if you want to understand what you're doing and actually end up with something that you spent a lot of time knitting that's going to fit and you're going to enjoy wearing, then patterns with schematics are good. Those are the best ones for sure. And then you need to take that time, and we are casting on today, but taking that time to have your swatch. And what's the golden rule with that? It's making sure that as you're knitting your garment, that you're sticking true to your gauge and not changing it. Sleeves can be completely different from the body. Or even the top of the body can be different from the bottom because you're knitting slightly tighter or looser.
So I've seen a lot of knitters with color work yokes. They'll go up a needle size. Do you usually do that in your yoke?
I don't find that changes my gauge. I can manage the floats okay, that I don't need to do that. But I do think that the mood I'm in may change things. You know, if I start bottom up, I might start out on gauge, and then the further up I go, the faster I get. I want to get this done, and I'm knitting tighter. And I don't realize it, and then it doesn't fit. I mean, that was the Victory cardigan. The first version of that was, how does this not fit? It's a fitted cardigan that I designed, and it didn't flip and fit because I got too tight and I wasn't managing the gauge. So, you know, sweaters are bigger garments. You need to check in more. It's not like a pair of socks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, not to put you off. This is all to encourage you, and
Yeah.
that we all have the chops to understand this and do it. So, and if you have questions, get into our groups, because that's where you will find very helpful people. And of course, Kelsey and Grady are there to help as well.
Yeah, so I'm excited to, I know I said I was going to start with a sleeve and have that be my gauge swatch, but I think I'm actually going to take the time to knit a gauge swatch first.
In the round?
And then I'll probably still start with the sleeve. Yeah, in the round. I'll probably still start with the sleeve.
Why are you...
Well, because I'm curious. Mostly just for documentation. I'm kind of curious at this point to see if my sleeve will be different than my actual swatch. Especially we've talked about how the body size can differ from like a sleeve.
Yep.
So
very cool.
I figure I'll just kind of play around, and I'm a little less worried about the sizing on this one because
it's baggier.
It's going to be a baggier, you know, looser sweater. So it's not like
it's not ultra fitted, but you don't want it to be too big either because you're very petite and you'll look like you're drowning.
Right, and I don't want to look like I'm drowning. So there are my colors.
I think they're gorgeous. That blue is a bluey gray or a grey blue kind of. It's really
I think
soft.
I am going to get off to a slow start because I'm not planning on bringing this with me to Florida.
Oh God, can you imagine? Why not?
I know.
I mean, the fact that you're going to Florida in August to start with, you'll be inside probably though.
Yeah. Probably. We will
what are you? Well, then what are you taking?
So I'm planning on bringing I have a couple of socks that are still going that have not been getting much attention lately because of my quilty. But so I figured definitely socks. I'll bring those.
Yeah.
And if I'm still knitting just straight on the body of my quilty, I'll probably bring that.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll be knitting the Keris pullover or sleeveless pullover. We're recording this before the cast on day, so I have not cast on like a good doobie. I guess I could have cheated, but I have already swatched for that. I know what I'm doing, and I can't wait to cast on. I'm really looking forward to knitting with that yarn. It's beautiful. It's Marie Wallin's British Breeds. It's gorgeous color work. The yarn is gorgeous. I'm knitting it in the round, and it's going to be fun. And I'm going to mind my gauge the whole way up as well. Make sure I'm staying.
I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
It's a beautiful vest.
And unfortunately, we're completely out of kits for Marie Wallin. You know, it's always hard to get yarn from her because it sells so quickly. She's selling a lot in the UK, and we're selling a lot here for her, and so we're waiting for things to stock up again. As soon as they do though, we'll get it in the shop. We do have individual balls that you could make your own. I'm not sure if we're out of stock of any particular colors, but I think we do have a fairly good supply right now.
I think it's the newer colors that we're out of.
Yeah, which is typical.
Yeah, we do still have some in decent supply.
Okay, Maggie, your whips?
I do have a whip.
Let's see it.
I have my quilty, which I've made good progress on.
I love this so much.
So here is my quilty. Pattern is by Neilan.
It's lovely. Oh, you got it on your...
I put it on my barber cords because it's pretty big at this point.
Yeah, it's at the biggest. Hold it up a wee bit higher. There you go.
There we go.
It's so pretty. It's like stars in the sky.
It really is pretty.
It is, isn't it?
And I tried it on, and it's going to fit.
Now, is there any ease built in? What did the pattern call for? Do you remember?
The pattern, she tells you the finished sizes, and she tells you how much ease that she recommends, which I don't remember off the top of my head.
That's all right.
So I just followed the pattern.
Yeah.
I know I did want like maybe 4 inches of ease, but not more than that.
Okay. And so this is going to be drapey, and also it's knitted in linen wool blend, Lyonesse, so it is going to have drape.
Yeah.
And it's gorgeous. It's in sapphire. Is that sapphire and moonstone maybe? Okay. Yep.
Or lapis.
Lapis, sorry.
Lapis.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and that's one ball of the lapis.
Which is the blue.
Yeah, and I've just gone into the second ball.
Is it short sleeve too?
It is, so it's a short sleeve,
very
so
quick.
Really that'll be very quick.
Have you gotten...
And I've got like 2 more rows and then I can separate for the sleeves.
And so you're just finishing up the color work then?
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
And then after that it's just...
Zoom, zoom.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing that finished.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I've seen Francesca, who follows us. She just cast on one. She's almost caught me already. Like she'll be done soon.
Oh, make sure you send us lots of photos.
Yeah. So now I think we should go and watch Kelsey. She's going to share with us what she looks at when she is picking out a sweater.
Yes.
I think she looks for, So,
yep, that's great. So
I'm sure it'll be super useful. We'll see you on the other side.
Okay.
Hi, it's Kelsey again. With the sweater KAL starting, I just wanted to jump in and talk to you about a few things that I consider when I choose what the next pattern I'm going to knit might be. Now, this is not necessarily how to choose patterns that you like out of all of the ocean of millions of patterns at this point that are available online or in books or through patterns from yarn companies, etc. This is assuming that you already have 10, 20, 50, 100, hundreds of patterns that you've liked, that you've bookmarked in pages or you've favorited on Ravelry, that you want to knit at some point, but can't decide what exactly you want to knit right now. So first thing that I like to think about is, do I have stash that I want to use? Now, that could be a full sweater quantity of yarn. It could be a partial sweater quantity that you know you can get additional skeins for, or an additional color that you could stripe. It could be that you have a special skein of yarn that you want to use in color work. You could have a skein of a color shifting yarn, like making tracks from Junction Fiber Mill, or you could have a specific fiber or a mohair blend or something else that you want to use specifically in a project. And that's always a good place to start, because then you know roughly the gauge that you'd want to be knitting, roughly the weight that you'd want to be knitting. And with that said, say that your special skein is sport weight, or your partial sweater quantity or full sweater quantity is worsted weight. That gives you a place to start, but it definitely still leaves some wiggle room in choosing the pattern that you're actually going to knit based on how drapey you want your fabric to be, what kind of structure you want it to have. Do you want it to be really windproof and waterproof, and then you'd want a tighter gauge? So there's still a lot of wiggle room even if you choose a pattern that you know, or sorry, not a pattern, if you choose a yarn that you know that you want to use that you already have. So often stash will give you some direction of where you want to start, but there's a lot of times you don't have stash or you don't have enough stash. So then I start thinking about, how much time do I have to make this project? Do I have a cousin who's having a baby who's going to be born in a month or 2 weeks or something less? Do you have do you want to knit it for yourself and you have no deadline? You could knit it forever and still be very happy with it. That can change a lot with what kind of gauge you want to be knitting. Clearly a larger gauge, so something in the 15, 16, even as low as 12 stitches to 4 inches is a very quick knit. It gives you a stitch that is very wide, but also tall. So you're getting both fewer stitches per round and fewer rounds in the length of your garment. So that's a much faster knit than if you're knitting something, say, with Jamieson and Smith or something similar that is 28, 32, even 36 stitches to 4 inches. That can take a very long time, especially to knit a full-size garment. Then I think about, are there new skills that I want to learn? Either there's skills that I want to learn, there's skills that I want to work on, or the opposite, there's things I want to avoid and I just want to do an ocean of stockinette knitting and not even think about it. You can consider if you want to be knitting a lot of cables, a lot of color work, perfecting some of the tension that comes with those things, or if you want to be learning something totally new. A lot of sweater patterns have different short row techniques or different bind-offs, cast-ons and bind-offs, sorry. So do you want to learn a tubular cast-on? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Do you want to learn some new lace techniques? That's a good way to narrow down what you're doing. Or do you want to just have something that you can take and sit by a campfire or go to a knit night or a virtual knit night and not really be thinking about? Do you want to be binge watching a whole TV series and knit your sweater? Then you're more likely wanting to be in sort of stockinette city where you're just knitting in the round and not really worrying about too much. And the same with charts. Things like complicated color work, complicated cables and lace will have charts. And so when you're using your charts, do you want to have to take all these charts with you wherever you're taking your project, or is it really going to be something that you're parked at home in your favorite knitting spot to knit? Another thing to consider is fiber that you want to use. I have seen many people, including myself, trip up over using the wrong mismatching your fiber and your pattern. If a pattern is written with an alpaca blend or a blend with some silk or with mohair or even bamboo, things like that, you can end up with a very different fabric if you try to sub in 100% wool. So if you've decided, I have this stash that I want to use, but I have a pattern that I'm interested in, and those two things don't really match, the fiber blend can make a difference in how the sweater looks. And that may not be a problem for you. You may not care if it's not quite as drapey, or if it's just sort of hangs a little bit differently, or if the stitch definition is a little bit different. But if you want it to really look like the pattern sample, you really need to go with at least a similar or equivalent fiber. Often things like viscose or bamboo or even nylon or acrylic can be subbed with a silk blend. There are some things that you can do to swap them out, but I wouldn't necessarily go from 100% wool to a very high content of some of those other fibers. And then the last is the shape of the garment. It's something that I think people overlook because they just see a garment that they really like the look of on whatever pattern sample model is wearing it. But there are many shapes to knitted garments. There's raglan shaping. I'm not wearing a knitted shirt right now, but this has more of a set-in sleeve, if you can see. So like a t-shirt style would have this sort of sleeve seam. A more sweatshirt style would have that raglan seam going this way. That's what the vanilla sweater has. There are other constructions that involve sort of knitting from one side to the other side and have kind of a batwing sleeve, a big dolman sleeve. So if there's something specific that you're wanting to knit, say that you really want a cardigan that you can wear with jeans, or that is a little cropped that you wear with a dress or something, those sorts of questions are another thing that I like to consider in the sort of big pile of patterns that you might want to knit at any given time. Things that as importantly, I think, things that I like to consider less, or even not at all, that many people do consider, it can really help you narrow things down if you're looking at something and not necessarily thinking about these things. First is trendiness. So a lot of times patterns are released, there's a pattern drop, there's a lot of social media presence that shows up in Hot Right Now on Ravelry. You can have a lot of things going on that makes a pattern look more desirable. But then when you if you think it through and you think through these other things that you're looking at, what yarn you want to use, how much time you want to spend, and how many skills you want to learn or be working on, what fiber you want to use, and the shape of the garment. Sometimes those trendy new patterns don't necessarily meet those criteria for you. They might, but they don't necessarily. So I see people sometimes jumping into patterns and saying, oh, I really want to knit this new pattern by this hot designer, and then realizing halfway through, like, ooh, this is not the shape I wanted to knit, or this is not the project I wanted to take on, or I can't take it with me when I go, sit at the beach for a week. So you can end up with a mismatch between what you want and what you have time for and what you like. Another thing is the color in the pattern sample. So most patterns are released with a primary sample, like the sample that is the cover page on Ravelry, or is the magazine page, or the picture in the book. And they're always in a certain color, because you have to pick a color, but that doesn't mean you have to knit in that color. So if you see a pattern and it's bright fuchsia and that's not your color, don't knit it in that color. So I would just warn people and really hope that you don't get scared off by patterns that are otherwise awesome, but it's in dark gray and you don't wear dark gray, or the color work is in a color shifting multicolored yarn and that's too much, that's too loud for you, or whatever it might be. You can always choose other colors, and certainly send us an email at The Woolly Thistle if you need some help doing that, and we're very happy to do that. And it's often me, so I'm happy to receive those emails and to help you pick out some new colors. Another thing is easily modifiable changes. When I say easily modifiable, I mean really easily modifiable. Some people really like to knit more or less a new sweater out of a sweater pattern because they're changing the shaping and they're changing this and they're changing that. I mean very easily modifiable. The first would be length. Most patterns you can just knit additional length, or you can stop early. Or even if you're going bottom up, you just know how long you want to knit for and you knit that long, and it's either shorter or longer. The same in the sleeves. If something is short sleeve and you want to make it long sleeve, or vice versa, those are easily modifiable. And again, if you need some help, send us an email. Things that are less easily modifiable are often the neckline, the shaping or the structure of the sweater itself, or color work patterns. It's anything that's charted. I'll throw cables in and lace in with that as well. If you have a complicated yoke and you want to change some of it, that's going to end up with a lot of charting and a lot of math that maybe you don't want to take on. But certainly a crew neck with a higher bit of ribbing, or a longer cuff of ribbing, or a different style of bind off, those things are all easily modifiable. And I don't want anyone to be knocked off track of a pattern you really like because of some of those things that are easy to change. And the last thing is the exact yarn used. It's very tempting and often the easiest to use the yarn that a pattern is designed in. But sometimes it's not a yarn that you can get. It's not a yarn that's in your budget or that you want to spend the money on, or it's not a yarn that comes in a color that you really like, or a fiber or a type of wool that you really like. So it's very easy to sub out pattern yarns for other yarns, and I'm going to say it again, we're very happy to help if you find a pattern that's knit in a yarn that you don't want to use or can't use and you need a substitute. Again, you don't want to see a pattern and go, ooh, that sweater's going to cost $200, $300 because of the type of yarn that's being used. And not to say that those yarns don't have a place, they absolutely do, and you may fall in love with a yarn like that and you cherish that sweater forever, and that's wonderful. That's wonderful. But if you find a pattern and you go, oof, I can't knit that pattern because of the yarn, send us an email and we'll figure out something else that you can use from us at the Woolly Thistle, or if we don't carry something, we can send you in the right direction. So those are my things. I just wanted to come in and talk just a little bit about how to select your pattern for a new garment at any given time. Not picking favorites, but sort of picking amongst your favorites. And if you have any questions, send us an email at info@thewoollythistle.com, and happy sweater, Cal.
Thank you, Kelsey. That was super helpful, and I hope, and I know actually that people will have found that helpful. Mm-hmm. She is a wonderfully experienced and thoughtful knitter, and that's great. So thank you, Kelsey. Yeah. So we are casting on today for our sweater, Cal. Maggie, can people still sign up if they're finding us late?
They can. So if you head to the website, if you go to thewoollythistle.com, there is a sign up page there. Sign up is free, and you can still sign up at least through the weekend.
Up in the menu on the top right, you'll find the sign up link. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, sign up if you want to join us and knit along with us. We hope you do. I think that the rules are on the sign up. There's not many rules though. It's just, hopefully you're going to be knitting with yarn that you've purchased at the Woolly Thistle. At some point it can be stashed, that's fine. Dig out those kits that you've bought but never knitted, that sort of thing, and let's knit a sweater together.
And if you're brand new and finding us, there are kits available in the shop. If you purchase now, we will get it to you as quickly as possible, and casting on late is perfectly fine.
It's totally fine, and it's a 7-week KAL, which is, not all of us will finish a sweater in that time, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay.
And some people will finish 2 sweaters.
I know. So, it runs the gamut.
Both are great.
But if you feel moved to knit with us and you're starting late, just jump in. It's fine. Just do it. And then near the end, we will select prizes from the FOs, correct?
Yes, correct.
Yes. Do you want to talk about what prizes we have?
Yeah, we have some great prizes for this KAL. Marie Wallin has generously donated a Cat Bells sweater kit. We can put a picture here of what Cat Bells looks like. We also have a copy of the Nordic Knitting Primer from Kristin Drysdale, as well as her Norse Knit Slipper ebook.
Which is a lovely book. I have that.
Ethnic Knitting Discovery ebook from Donna Dracunis, who you can find as Dracunis on Ravelry and I believe on Instagram.
Yep.
Vasilindo Collection ebook from Meiju KP.
Awesome.
And we have a bunch of pattern download prizes, including from designers Elizabeth Doherty, Gudrun Johnston, Kristin Drysdale, Connie of Yellow Cosmo, Noma Gugu, Anur, who is Mama's Teddy Bear, Donna Kay, Sylvia, who is with cherries on top, Carolyn of Woolly Needle, and Anna Johanna.
A great list of
Just a
contributing
great list of designers. who
yeah.
donated.
So thank you very much for that. We appreciate you.
We did not ask for pattern discounts this year. We decided there's so much work that goes into a pattern.
There really is.
And certainly if they wanted to do discounts on their own, that's perfectly fine, but we didn't ask for them.
Right.
And we hope that you'll still support their work.
Absolutely.
They do amazing work and put a lot of effort in.
Yeah. It is a lot of work. I mean, there's just a lot of work that goes into it. I think everybody realizes that. Okay, so shall we talk about what's coming in the shop? We still have to talk to Emma as well.
Yes.
But let's talk about what's coming in the shop. And shall we look at the new books, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a few new books that have landed. We can start with...
Okay.
We can start with Salt and Timber, which is still on pre-order, but they've arrived here in the shop. And this book is really lovely.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, it's by Lindsay Fowler, who I honestly didn't really... There's so many great designers out there. I was not very familiar with her work. This one has a lot of interesting, suitable for beginner on up. Some socks, sweaters.
Yeah, and it's all sort of focused around the
Yeah,
Pacific
she gives
Northwest.
you some technique.
Published by Lyonesse, so you know the quality's good.
Yeah, beautiful photography.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything from shawls to socks and sweaters in between and hats and all that kind of good stuff.
Sweaters, even sized for kids, which is fantastic.
There it is.
You can
it looks so fluffy.
Yeah,
Love a
make
fluffy sweater.
sweaters. And then the blanket, I think is pretty cool. She talks about using her scraps
Yes.
of different weights for blankets. Which I think is pretty.
That's really nice.
I like this cardigan too, which I think is on the cover.
Yeah.
But it's really pretty.
Yeah. So that is still on pre-order, or will that...
It's on pre-order. It releases August 26th.
Okay. So that's on pre-order now.
Also on pre-order is Lina issue 10.
Right. Which we don't have copies of, but they did something very...
10? 15?
Yeah, did you say 10?
I did. I said 10.
Oh my God. And I didn't even correct you.
It's issue...
15.
It's 15. So issue 15 is on pre-order, and they have 2 covers, so you choose which one that you want.
Yep. The black and white is the limited one, and that's yellow with black and white inlaid, and then the color is orange.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just the cover that's different.
Yeah, the contents are all the same, but they had a redesign and they put out special covers for this, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's vamped up for sure.
Yeah.
And then we have, I'm always excited. This is Shetland Wool Adventures Journal 4. And Maggie, is this on pre-order still, or is it here
this
now?
one's just available now. It had been on pre-order, took a little while to get to us, but yeah, it's really good.
I haven't seen this yet, but this is all about Fair Isle. Fair Isle on Fair Isle. So
these just got in like late on Friday.
I will be claiming my copy. Oh, I know him. John Best. Wearing a lovely sweater. Yes. Oh my gosh. So yeah, awesome. I'll be reading this. I love these wonderful journals. They do a great job. And this is more than knitting as well. It's landscape and walking trips and food, and just definitely a good way to prepare for a trip to Shetland, I think, as well.
Or if you're like me, I'm preparing for a trip. I don't know. There's no date on that trip.
Right. It'll happen though. And when it does, you'll be prepared.
I'm going to run around. They'll be like, some nuts loose on.
But she knows a lot. Oh, I'm so excited to get into that.
She's running around like she knows it already.
I know. Any other new books? Yes.
This one, I'm pretty excited about this one. It is Norwegian Sweaters and Jackets.
Yep.
By Carrie Hessness. It has some gorgeous patterns in here.
I like that.
I know, it reminds me of the Scandinavian sweaters
stuff. Yeah.
Where you're flipping through it and you're like, ooh,
I could knit that.
I could knit that.
Yeah. So yes, very beautiful knittable designs in this, very attractive.
Yeah. So lots of, let's see. Oh, I really like this one. It's more of a jacket. But I really like it. It's just outerwear.
Oh,
yeah.
Pretty.
Yeah, so just packed with beautiful, they look very wearable, very comfortable.
Fun knits.
Yep.
Oh,
I like that one.
oh, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Something to aspire to.
Yep. So, and that is in the shop today.
Yay! Not a pre-order.
Not a pre-order, just
Wonderful.
in the shop.
Love
So,
it.
yep.
Love it.
Yeah, you can see on the back.
And Maggie,
Just
the
gorgeous.
Blackhurst Blueface Leicester's doing well out of the gate. So that's
Yeah.
great. This is a brand new yarn. We've shown you this a couple of times on the Shopcast, so we'll not go through all the names, but
Yeah.
there's nine different colors. It's all
Yeah.
very muted and lovely. And Blueface Leicester, I mean,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. It's wonderful yarn.
Yeah.
And we've got some Drover up there too, which is also doing really great. I
Mhm.
love my socks in that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we what's the other thing we want to show
The
off?
other thing we want to show are this new book bundle.
Should we do that right after we visit Emma?
Yes, that would be good.
I love doing that.
So Emma's joining us. She is also preparing for her sweater knit for the sweater cast. So let's go see what she has to say.
All right, we'll see you on the other side.
Hi everyone. I hope that you guys are as excited as I am that it's cast on day for the Woolly Thistle sweater KAL, because I'm so excited. I've been waiting. I'm excited. Obviously I'm recording this a little bit in advance and I'm not casting on like today that I'm recording it, but I'm going to be casting on today when you're watching this, which is really exciting. So I'm here to share some details about the sweater that I'm going to be knitting, which is very exciting. And yeah, for those of you who've never seen me before, my name's Emma. I live in Baltimore, Maryland, and I like knitting a lot. And you can find me on YouTube at Tiny Desk Knitting and on Instagram as Barnby Knits if you are interested in seeing more of my content. But you'll see me here regularly at the Woolly Thistle. So okay, so I'm doing something kind of ridiculous this year, and this is something that I've wanted to do for a little while. I am gonna be knitting an ugly Christmas sweater. So it's obviously gonna be a gorgeous Christmas sweater because it's gonna be hand knit. But I've been meaning to do this for years because my brother has always asked me if I would like make him a Christmas sweater, like a really silly Christmas sweater, not like a serious one. Because I knit him a sweater about every 2 years for Christmas anyway, so it's his year. I don't think he knows, like I don't think he's aware that it's like pretty much on a schedule every 2 years I give him a new sweater. But I am knitting him a sweater this year. And I've decided to make us matching ones, and they're gonna be reindeer Christmas sweaters. And this sweater is called Hreindyr. This is a Lopi pattern from an Istex Lopi spiral bound pattern book. So you can see that it comes in a few different colorways, and there's a couple of different options here. This one is 2-color version, and this one, these two are both 3-color versions. So this is just like, you can usually get these. Sometimes you can get them from your local yarn store. I don't know. You can find these on the internet somewhere if you are interested. The people who make Lopi, which is Istex, company called Istex, they publish these. So anyway, this is a design called Hreindyr, and I think it's by Védís Jónsdóttir. I'm just gonna check. It does design Védís Jónsdóttir. I can't show you this pattern page because it's a pattern in a book. It's got the 2-color chart and it's got the 3-color chart. So yarn. Okay, I was really excited about this yarn when it came to the Woolly Thistle, and I was like, I'm gonna definitely be making a sweater out of that this fall. So I'm using Navia Traditions. So there's 2 Navia yarns that have come to the Woolly Thistle this summer. The Traditions and the Brushed Traditions. So this is the regular Traditions, which is the worsted Aran weight, and I think the other one is like more of a sport weight. But I haven't tried it yet. So I think they're like previous Shopcasts, like Maggie and Kelsey, I think have both swatched with it. So if you've been following the Shopcasts regularly, you will have already seen swatches with that. But this one, yeah, Tradition. These balls of wool. This wool is from the Faroe Islands, and that is really exciting to me. It's one of those places I really want to visit someday. The Faroe Islands are a set of islands. It's like a little archipelago, and I think they're halfway in between Iceland and Norway in the North Sea. So they're like, you know, Shetland's right above Scotland, and then Faroe's like even north of that, kind of between Iceland and Norway. And I think they speak Danish there. It's a Danish, it's part of Denmark, not like the country of Denmark, but it's a Danish, I don't know what the word is. Settlement? Not really, because it's, you know, anyway, Danish people, I think they speak Danish there, and it's like part of the municipality of Denmark or whatever. So anyway, they have amazing knitwear traditions from Faroe, and yeah, I was really excited to work with this yarn. So I got 4 balls of this red, which is very bright. So it's gonna really be a showstopper of a Christmas sweater. This one's for me. Actually, I'm making a green one for my brother. And then I got this darker brown and then this kind of oatmeal. So the main color is gonna be red with then the dark brown and oatmeal as the contrasts. I'll hold this here. I will tell you what the colors are in a second. You can probably see that red one there on the label as I hold it. It's 916. There it is. This is exactly the color scheme I'm gonna be using for mine. So I'm really excited about that. It's gonna be bright. But yeah, mostly red, main color red, and then brown background and white reindeer. So that's fun. I think for my brothers, I'm gonna do 2-color, well, the more like the 2-color version, but just with the, here it is. More like this one, it's gonna be like green, and then this will be white, and then the reindeer and the trees will be like a black or a dark brown. So yeah, but his yarn is gonna be some random Aran weight yarn that is not, doesn't even have a label, it just says it's wool. So that's for another time, but I have to stick to my schedule of this sweater because so that I can knit the second one. Because usually I join the Woolly Thistle sweater KAL and I go really like for a while, like it's great, and then I'm like, no, I have too many other things I want to work on, and I just like, I'll finish the sweater, but like not until January or February. So I'm determined, I'm gonna make myself a schedule and knit like both of the sleeves in the first 2 weeks and then move on to the body and have it done. And I find that a worsted weight sweater is really helpful for that because it goes a lot faster. Like last year I tried to knit a fingering weight sweater and I could have done it. I just was like, after I finished the color work, I was like, all right, I'm kind of done. I don't really want to knit stockinette and fingering weight right now. That's not really what I'm feeling. So anyway, I have knit my swatch and I blocked it. And the gauge for this sweater is 18 stitches over 4 inches, as most of the Istex Let Lopey patterns are. So I'm a super, super loose knitter. I usually have to size down 1 to 2 needle sizes. That's because I don't tension the yarn around my finger at all. I just kind of hold it like this and wrap it, which doesn't seem like it would be efficient, but I find it to be very efficient, so that's fine. Let's hold it this way. I knit the swatch in the round. And if you are confused about how to do this, basically what happens is that you cast on your number of stitches. I actually like to cast on the number of stitches it says over 4 inches. So if it's 18 stitches over 4 inches, I cast on 18 stitches plus my border stitches that I'm gonna do in garter stitch. So that's like usually 2 stitches on either end. So I'll cast on for this swatch, for instance, I cast on 22. So 2 plus 18 plus 2 on the other end. And I knit back and forth in garter stitch for 3 rows, just so the edges of the swatch don't curl up. And then I knit every row, and when I finished the end of the row, well, except the 2 edges, in which case I alternated knitting and purling, so it would look like garter stitch and it wouldn't curl. So when I get to the end of the row, I would just slide it right back to the beginning of the needle and start knitting again. And you just have to bring that, the working yarn all the way around the back. So it just creates a super long float. So basically it's like this on one side, and it's like these are all connected like that. and there floats all up along the back here. And then usually I soak it first and then I'll cut them open, like they're wet, but I cut them open while wet and then I lay it flat to dry because it will lay flatter that way. Sometimes it kind of curls in on itself because the floats were a little tight if you don't cut them before you lay it flat. So knitters generally are, it's recommended that knitters do this, knit a swatch in the round if your sweater or garment or whatever accessory you're knitting is also knit in the round, because when you purl back, instead of knitting around and around and around like you would in knitting in the round, when you purl back to get a stockinette swatch, sometimes that gauge is a little different than your knitting. The reason for that is that purling takes a little bit more yarn. So that's a fun fact. So helpful to knit the swatch in the round. I just kind of guesstimated. I assumed I would need personally a size US 6 knitting needle to achieve 18 stitches over 4 inches. And it is exactly 4 inches. So that was lucky because I don't often swatch anymore, but that's only because I usually work with the yarns more than once. So I know how that yarn works up at a certain gauge. And I usually knit yarns to the same gauges. If I was gonna change the gauge drastically from one yarn, like within one yarn, like from one sweater to the next sweater I was knitting with it, then I would check my gauge. I would do another swatch. But otherwise, I really only swatch with new yarns. So I swatched with this because it was a new yarn to me. So I'm very proud of myself for swatching. So that doesn't always happen. And it's pretty bang on. This is a really nice fabric at 18 stitches over 4 inches. I was a little worried before I got it, I didn't know how thick it would be. I knew maybe it was in the Aran kind of camp, but I think we're pretty solidly in worsted here. So I was thinking, it might be kind of tight. It might be hard on the hands if you're knitting Aran weight at too tight of a gauge. I thought maybe I would end up sizing the gauge up a little bit to 16 stitches over 4 inches and then just adjusting the counts on the sweater. But I didn't have to do that, which is good because I'm knitting the smallest size. So there's not a whole lot of room for adjustment. Like if I wanted to adjust the size, I would have to do a lot of math. So nice that I don't have to do a lot of math. I'm just gonna knit the smallest size and be on my merry way. Yeah, so I'm really excited. I think that the yarn is definitely woolly wool, but I don't tend to have a problem wearing that next to my skin. Although this is gonna make basically kind of like almost like an outerwear sweater, like a sweater you'd wear with something underneath, probably like a long sleeve shirt. So I do plan to wear a long sleeve shirt underneath this. But yeah, I have lopey sweaters that I don't wear long sleeves under. Not always, but it doesn't bother me. Okay, before I forget, the colors. This is 916. This red, it's very bright. I wanted it to be bright and kind of like a screamy bright red. This is 906. So 916, 906. And then this one is 902. So they all start with 9. And these are 100 grams. It says 100 grams right there. And let's see, 180 meters. That's about 200 yards. It's pretty typical for a Aran worsted weight yarn. That's woolen spun. Woolen spun's a little, or no, worsted spun, excuse me. Worsted spun's a little heavier than woolen spun yarn. I think this is worsted spun. The fibers are kind of like all over the place, but I think that's because the staple is kind of short, not because it's woolen spun. But I'm not really a spinner, so don't take my word for it. This is a really fun heathered gray. I really like this. Another thing that I'm really excited to do is that I'm going to be knitting these on ChiaGoo minis. So this is actually the smaller set. I will not be using this set because this only goes up to a US 3. But the Woolly Thistle carries these now, and I'm so excited. I finally got a mini set. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm just going to show you because it's more exciting than me trying to explain what it is. So this is a little interchangeable needle set, and it's tiny. So you get your needle tips in, this is the mini one, so 0 through 3. The blue ones, this is the red one, it's red, and the cables are red. This goes from 0 through 3, and the blue one goes from 4 through 8. So these needle sets come with 3-inch tips and 2-inch tips in each size. The 2-inch ones are teeny. They're so cute. So if you've ever used a 9-inch circular needle for socks, you will know that that's a 2-inch tip. You may not know that, but a 9-inch circular needle for socks is a 2-inch tip, 2 2-inch tips with a 5-inch cord. This set does come with a 5-inch cord, so you can essentially make your own shorty sock needles. It comes with 5-inch, 6-inch, and 8-inch cords. So that makes, if you use the 2-inch tips, you'll get 9-inch, 6 inches would be 10 inches, and the 8-inch would make 12 inches. And then with the 3-inch cords, you'd get 11 inches, 12 inches, and 14 inches, respectively. And it comes with some little, that's in here, it's a little pocket. Some tighteners. The little T-pins are actually for tightening the cables to the needles, and then some stoppers, which are the red things. Those are just stoppers that if you need to use the needles for like a different project, you can put stoppers on the cords and just leave the project where it is. And then the pink things are just stitch markers. It also comes with this gauge, okay, in case you need it. Although ChiaGoo needles have the, oh, that was upside down, sorry. ChiaGoo needles actually have the size lasered onto the tips, which is awesome. Really helpful. I have not needed a gauge ruler needle gauge for a long time because of the ChiaGoo needles. So I have just found that like sleeves really fly on these. Maggie and Corinne were talking about this last week on the Shopcast, so when Maggie first started talking about that, that's when I was like, all right, I gotta try that. And I really like it. The 3 inches are okay. 2 inches is a lot. Sometimes it's a lot. It's the opposite of a lot. It's a little. But I do like the 3-inch tips for sleeves. So I'm gonna do that for these, and I think the sleeves are gonna go really fast. So yeah, that's my plan. Yeah, I'm really excited to cast on, and I can't wait to see what everyone makes. So happy cast on day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Well, we hope you enjoyed that segment with Emma. Thank you, Emma. You are always a very lovely and excited knitter, sharing your passion with us, and we appreciate
She's
that.
so energetic.
She is.
I love her.
We love her energy. Okay, so Maggie, I interrupted you.
You did. I'm excited for these. So we've just started doing in the past couple of months these book bundles. Yeah. And they come with 3 to 4 books. They're usually some kind of cozy mystery.
Yep.
And we just pair them with
the perfect yarn.
Yeah, we try to find the perfect yarn.
Yeah.
And
they've sort of morphed into these boxes.
Yeah.
Which they're very popular, and we're excited about them.
Yeah.
Because now we have to read all these lovely
So there are a
mysteries.
few things about this box. Normally with our boxes we don't give you really any choices. But this one we are. So we've worked with Junction Fiber Mill.
Which you'll remember with Making Tracks and Farm Fresh. They're local to us, just over the water in Vermont.
Yeah, which you will still find a little bit of Making Tracks and Farm Fresh in the shop if you're looking to add to your order.
Okay.
But, so this box we've included, this box is called the Murder in a Scottish Shire.
Yes.
Box is very fun.
Murder.
There's been a murder.
There's been a murder.
And so this box comes, first of all, with a tote.
Why don't you start unpacking it?
Sure. So it comes with a tote.
Lovely TWT
And
tote.
then it's packed with...
Looky look. All right, let's dig in.
Yeah. So the only thing that's missing is we have a really special stitch marker for this one, but it's literally tracking to arrive today.
So you just have to trust us on that.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
So Maggie, let's talk about books.
So each box comes with the first 3 books in the Murder in a Scottish Shire series.
The author is Tracy Hall.
So we have that one.
And I've been reading this, and it's lovely. I think Krista has read it, and it's about this single mom who is trying to make a go of it with her yarn shop, and there's a murder.
There's a murder.
It's really cute. It's very cozy.
Yeah. Yep. And then book 2.
Murder in a Scottish Garden.
Yeah.
We do love our gardens, so yeah.
I will say it was really fun. There was one afternoon where you opened it up and you were reading it.
Because this one is set in Nairn, which is actually where my mother lives now. I mean, my mum is always where we are, it seems. It's funny. So Nairn is a seaside town in the northeast of Scotland, just a few miles east of Inverness. Anyway,
and then the third one, Murder in a Scottish Social.
Yeah.
Sorry, trying to read that backwards.
Yeah, and
So
these are lovely, pretty, bright
They
covers.
really are. These books are really my jam.
Yeah.
So
exactly. Not too much mental required.
yeah.
And then tell us what's different about the boxes.
And then, so each box, all of the boxes will get this beautiful light gray color of Farm Fresh. It is a North Country Cheviot.
Which is lighter gray than the one we had before.
Yes. So
Gorgeous.
all of them come with this. And here's where your choice comes in. So there are 3 choices. You have this one, which is Carnival Volume 2.
Or this one, which is Green Mountain Highway. Or Thistle, which is this lovely green and purple, which, yes, I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. So all of these are great. Remember, there's quite a bit of variation in some of these skeins because of the nature of how they spin them.
No two are alike. No. So, this is a representation of what they could be like, but they could be more red than blue sometimes and things like that. They're all beautiful.
They're
Absolutely
all
beautiful.
stunning. Like you can see that one has a lot of a blue-green.
We're really excited about this yarn and working with Peggy and Amanda over at Junction Fibre Mill, and go check them out too. They have a website and you can see everything there that they have. These boxes are really fun. People are enjoying them, and that excites us. I think we've hit a winner with these. I think people are enjoying them.
They're a lot of fun. I think it'll knit up sort of like a fractal hand spun. Caitlin, I don't know if you saw, Caitlin is planning a sweater and she's using pebble in the yoke
and then the solid for the main. That'll be good. I would definitely venture into using them in color work like that. That would be really nice.
So, and I think with something like this, you could easily knit a hat. It's a nice sort of playful sample to see how you'd like it.
A little bit of fun and whimsy, and we hope you enjoyed the reading choice as well. They're lovely. Okay, so that's that.
So that's that.
Oh, Maggie, I wanted to say that we had a lovely customer send us a card and cookies, which there's not many left.
There's not many left at all.
Susan, thank you so much for thoughtfully sending us your ginger snaps.
Yeah.
Very much appreciated by all of us. So thank you for that. Don't start sending us all cookies though.
No, but they were delicious.
They were. They
really, I'd like a good ginger snap.
I hadn't had a ginger snap since I don't know when.
I don't know what it is. The past few years, I've sort of been addicted to ginger snaps and finding just the right ones. And I like them when they've got a little extra gingery kick. It drives my husband a little crazy, but these were so good.
They were delicious and the wonderful texture, very crisp.
Yeah.
Right, so thank you for that. Now, what else do we have to talk about here? Or have we done it?
That's just about it. We are getting questions about when Shetland Wool Week is coming, the annual. We've heard September, so we are waiting for more information like all of you. We do have some Bonnie Isle kits in the shop now if you want to knit your Shetland Wool Week hat.
Do we have that in different color variations?
Those are coming. We're working on those.
Okay, great.
So keep an eye out for those. Our Woolly Thistle colorways is sort of what we call them. And as soon as we have any information about the annual, we will share it with you.
Now, I think because we're taking off, you won't see us again for 3 weeks on the YouTube channel. Be on our newsletter. That will continue on, and information like that, when Shetland Wool Week will be available, will be in the newsletter while we're out of Dodge here. And so make sure you're signed up if you're not already. Anything else?
That's it.
That's it.
Did we call on a second winner?
No, we didn't. Oh, let's do that then. Where is she?
She's right there. All right, our second winner is Katie Bonnell. She says, so excited for the sweater, Cal. I loved seeing all the sweaters you shared with us. Very inspiring and makes me want to knit all the sweaters. Us too, Katie.
Yes.
Us too. So, Katie, if you're a winner of a $25 gift certificate to the Woolly Thistle, email
Happy
us at
sending.
info@thewoollythistle with prize winner in all caps.
That way we can find your email and pluck you out. Get that off to you. And if you want to be in the running for a $25 gift card, just leave a comment to this video, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe. And thank you very much for watching.
The other thing we should mention, West Yorkshire Spinners.
Oh, of course.
Their Christmas sock
Yes.
yarn is coming. It is
Yes.
coming the end of August, so you definitely want to be on our email list. We
Yes.
will share all the information with you there.
Has it
as
been
soon as-
publicly released
It
yet?
has not. I've
So
not
we have the
seen it
scoop.
publicly released.
Yeah.
So I'm not
Yeah.
sharing it yet.
No, we're not sharing it yet, but we know what it is and it's coming, and we are on that. So as soon as we're able to share that, we will.
Yes.
Yes, and
So-
we'll have all prior years as well.
Yeah, so we're going to put together cute little bundles. So
Yeah.
you don't want to miss anything. Get on our email
Right,
list.
right.
And be prepared for the end of the month.
End of August.
End of August.
Okay,
Yeah, they're rolling it out early. And
All right, we are on that, and
which is good because if you want to knit
yeah,
Christmas socks
you
for the
you
whole
have that
family.
time to do it.
Yep.
Maggie, as well. We have a lot of stuff coming. That we're really excited about. So be on our email list so that you can be notified of anything new that's coming. We will definitely get you all caught up next time we're back here.
Yeah.
It feels odd not to be back before our 2-week rotation, but it's good for us to take a little break as well. And also Maggie's leaving, so and well earned as well. So yeah, we want to just have a bit of a summer here, and before the kids go back to school, which is coming right up.
Yes.
They started complaining about that this weekend. I'm like, oh, don't.
Sam, my son, will be a senior this year.
My daughter's
And
a junior.
He's sort of like, I think even he's sort of shocked by it. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah. Get used to it, buddy. Oh my gosh.
I know.
Just gets faster.
I know.
So yeah, summer is coming to a fast end. It's actually we're out of that heat wave for now at least, and the nights are getting colder. I'm like closing windows and it's cool in the morning. Oh God, thank goodness. That heat wave was unbelievable.
I know. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sort of preparing myself. We could still have at least
I know.
one more heat
We
wave,
could
but-
absolutely Indian summer in September or something
Yeah.
like that. But any chance I get, I'm throwing on the wool. I can't help it. It's ridiculous, but I love it so much. Well, I think that's all we have from us this time.
Yeah.
So bon voyage.
Thank you.
Safe travels. Come
Yep.
back to us. But make sure you come back to us.
Yes, I'll come back.
Yes, and we'll see you in 3 weeks. And happy knitting. We'll see you in the groups. Be sure to be chatting in there about your sweater knitting. If you're not calling along with us, just come in the groups anyway, and say hello. And we are here. We're open and we're ready to help you. So have a wonderful couple of weeks, and we'll see you soon. I think all that's left to say, Maggie, is if you go out,
Take your knitting.
bye-bye.